On the Brain Possible podcast, we talk weekly with practitioners, parents, caregivers, and experts who share their knowledge on a variety of treatments and issues that matter to you. One thing we haven't discussed in depth is the financial side of the journey when raising an exceptional child. Our guest today is Sonny Mullen, Outreach Manager for the National Medical Fundraising nonprofit, Help Hope Live. Sonny is from the Philadelphia area and spent the first part of her career in New York City working in television. She joined Help Hope Live in 2016, first working in the finance department, and is now proudly the outreach manager, helping to build the outreach department to bring Help Hope Live's mission to a wider audience. With a personal connection to Help Hope Live's mission, Sonny is happy to use her experiences to connect and speak with individuals in the disability community all over the country, with the goal of helping them safely fundraise for their medical and related expenses. Let's get started. Thank you, Sonny, so much for joining me here today. I am excited to learn about your mission at Help Hope Live. Can you share a little bit about that with me?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me and taking the time to learn about our resources. Help Hope Live is a national nonprofit that serves individuals of all ages, assisting them to fundraise within their communities for their medical expenses and related costs. We believe that no medical crisis should turn into a financial crisis. So we've been around now for just over 38 years. And we were founded here in the Philadelphia region by a heart transplant surgeon who at the time was assisting their patients to fundraise for their very expensive experimental surgeries in the early 80s. And so we were founded on transplant. At the time, we were known as the National Transplant Assist Fund. And then in the early 2000s, we had a local student here in the Philadelphia region get injured while sledding. And we opened up our community to the catastrophic injury and then catastrophic illness communities. And we are simply here to help anyone living with a catastrophic medical condition who is experiencing a financial hardship. Like I said, we don't believe that any medical crisis should turn into a financial crisis. And we're here to provide you with the personal support and our expertise to make that process as simple and safe as possible.
I have a whole list of questions here, but I kind of want to start with off the top of my head, I'm wondering how you fundraise. So is it,
Sure.
I'm in the fundraising world, we're a nonprofit as well, and it's not easy.
No, never. So we help each individual within their communities. And so what we do for our clients is separate from what we do as an organization, because we do our own fundraising for our organizational costs. And then the funds that are raised in honor of our clients are held within regionally restricted funds, depending on where they live. So they are there strictly for their medical expenses. And we provide them with one-on-one client services coordinators who help them figure out who their community is, what types of fundraisers work best within their communities, and then provide them with all of the personal support necessary, creating flyers, helping them write their stories, planning the fundraisers, materials they might need. Because we're national, fundraising looks very different all over the country. And there's truly nothing too small. We have individuals that have very successful yard sales. We have individuals that have very successful golf outings. It's really just, what are your interests? What will motivate you to get out there, and what will motivate your community to come and join your event? We can turn almost anything into a fundraiser. So that's what our coordinators, and that's one of the main advantages of coming to fundraise with Help Hope Live, is that personal support between our client services team and our finance team, who then helps you pay your medical expenses out of those funds raised in your honor. Is, you won't find that personal support really anywhere else. And it's just, we're on the phone, we're on email with our clients Monday through Friday, just constantly helping them planning, whether it's virtual, obviously in today's climate, or in person. All different types of fundraisers all over the country.
Wow. Okay, before I go too far down that road, you mentioned that you have a personal connection to this mission. Can you share that?
Absolutely. I have my younger brother, Tristan, who lives with a catastrophic illness. It is a rare medical condition called GRIN1. That's the gene that his mutation is on. And he will be 26. I'm looking at my calendar. He will be 26 in a week and a half. So he has lived with this his entire life, but was just diagnosed technically maybe 6 or 7 years ago, because now that genome testing is so prevalent in the medical community. So for a long time, he had what we called Tristan disease. It was just many different symptoms that all encompassed his life. He is nonverbal. He doesn't walk. He lives with a lot of complications.
Mhm.
But within our family, we know how to take care of him. We know how to communicate with him. And he's really probably the reason I'm talking to you today, really, that I'm here with Help Hope Live as their outreach manager. And I can kind of put myself in our shoes of our clients while listening to them. Never, if they want to hear my story, that's different, but I don't always put that out there it's more about our clients. So I like to share my story when possible, but yeah, it's my little brother, Trey. He's kind of gotten me to where I am today for sure.
Oh, awesome. Did you happen to hear about Help Hope Live because of him?
I did not. So I actually was living in New York and working kind of in the corporate. I worked in television for 8 years
Mhm.
and moved home about trying to think of the date, 6 years ago now, and wanted to just change my life a bit and moved home to take a 180 and get back into nonprofits. I grew up in the nonprofit world, and I knew I wanted to find a nonprofit that I could believe in its message and help share that message.
Mhm.
And as much as I searched for 6 months, I wasn't finding anything that was the right fit. And one of my friends from high school worked at Help Hope Live. And she said, we have a job in finance. I said, I'm not a finance person. I worked in television. What is this? She's like, you can definitely do this. And so it was a job handling the fund requests that come in from our clients every day. And what I soon learned is, while yes, there is a finance component, that job is very communications based. So I was really great at, just talking to our clients day in, day out, handling those fund requests. And that's how I started at Help Hope Live. I was in the finance department handling our fund requests for about 2.5 years. And then I approached our executive director and knew that outreach and getting out there with our mission was really my passion. And so I helped create this outreach department over the last 2.5 years and really help push our mission forward into so many different facets all over the country, medical professionals, vendors, organizations like yours. And so I'm happy to be here now and kind of sharing that mission. But it is ironic because as I moved home from New York, got the job heard about the job from someone I went to high school with. My office is honestly across the street from my high school, and I can see my high school from my desk. So it's just a real moving home experience, which is great. So so
Awesome.
I was really lucky that, and that's how it is. You search for jobs for as long as you can, but word of mouth is really where it ends up coming from for the most part.
What makes Help Hope Live different from other fundraising platforms? Want to go back to the fundraising. I think that's probably what anyone listening is wondering.
Yeah, enough about me for sure. So Help Hope Live, we have 3 main advantages as to why we'd like you to come and start fundraising with us.
Okay.
I mentioned already our personal support with the client services coordinators, our finance team. Beyond that, we offer our nonprofit status. So any donation that is coming in your honor is tax deductible to the fullest extent of the law. And any of your donors, if their employers have a matching gift program, they're eligible to double, sometimes triple that gift. And then the way that we manage the funds. So all funds are raised for Help Hope Live in your honor, and they're held within regionally restricted funds. So this way they should not ever affect your asset-based benefits or become taxable income to your family.
Okay,
so the way
that's
that we
great.
manage those funds, it's a very safe and reliable way to do your fundraising. And on top of that, we medically verify every individual that we work with. So we can go out to your community and everyone can be assured that this person is doing fundraising for the right reasons. We are assisting them for the right reasons, and all of the funds will be going to the right reasons. We are fully transparent. We've had a 4-star charity navigator rating for the last 17 years. We're really here to be as safe and reliable and to make the process as easy as possible for our clients.
What is that process?
When you come to us, if you're interested in doing some fundraising, the onboarding process, we try to make it as painless as possible for sure. You can get to us either on our website and click the get started button and kind of start the process yourself. And that will trigger a phone call from a client services coordinator. Or you can just call our 800 number and start the conversation. And they will talk to you about what your situation is. What's your medical condition? Who's your community? Where do you think you see your process going, your fundraising going? And, you can come to us at any point in your medical journey. You don't need to have a specific need right away to start fundraising. We'd actually prefer you not to have the need. Start fundraising before you have the need, so that when you do have a specific need, there will be funds available in your honor. So have that conversation with the client services coordinator. At that point, if you're ready to move forward, they will send you a welcome packet. And in that packet will be your terms of service to sign off on, the medical verification sheet that I had explained about. And then at that point, there's a $25 onboarding donation that can come from anyone in your community. That gets your campaign page live on our website. Once we receive all the paperwork back, you are good to go. This process can really take 48 hours. It could take a week or two. It really just depends on getting everything back from the individual.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a hard process. We really try to make this as easy as possible. Your coordinator is there to help you write your story for your campaign page, walk you through all of that, and they're here to hold your hand through everything.
That's awesome. Can you guys help me fundraise?
I mean,
Sounds
we'd
like you
love to
guys are
help anyone.
experts.
We like to think we are, absolutely. Like I said, we've been around now
Yeah.
for 38 years, and we're very lucky to have been able to raise over $158 million for the community.
Holy cow. So how many, you're nationwide, have you done fundraising in every state, or how many states?
I can say that we do have clients in Alaska and Hawaii.
Wow.
So we do have individuals, maybe not as many, but we do have individuals in every state. And, a lot of I think our bigger populations are probably, if you see a heat map, we just saw one recently where you can almost see where the biggest rehab centers are. And that's where our clients are coming from. So it's a lot of, Atlanta where the Shepherd Center is, or Philadelphia where McGee is, Colorado where Craig Rehab is. So we get a lot of our clients directly from there, but we're very coastal. But we do have a lot of clients who are in the middle of the country and very rural. And that's why, our expertise helps them, and we can help fundraise for a lot of different things that maybe can help them even get around we've had individuals need a specific type of wheelchair to help them get around their farm or their land that they can't even mobilize themselves
Yeah.
on. So,
oh my gosh, those are
or even
expensive.
even out a driveway or stuff like that. Anything related to the condition that is going to help you live your life better. We can help you fundraise toward that.
Wow. Is it, do you ever have someone who says like they want to get a certain alternative, or, on the brainpossible.com, we list all these different treatments. I don't know how many we have on their total, but let's say it's about 60.
Okay.
Can it be for anything?
So it depends on it. We do ask that they're at least FDA approved, we need to have some oversight as a nonprofit, and we are being audited by the IRS and that kind of stuff. So we need to have some oversight, but we do have individuals that will, if we get a doctor's note that says that approves a certain piece of equipment or a certain piece of treatment, we may, I can't find the word, but approve that outside of our normal realm. So it's really,
Make
there
an
is always
exception.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Mhm.
There is always a conversation to be had, but we want to try to be sure that we are going toward the best treatments and whatever. We're never going to tell you what to do either way, but we need to follow some guidelines
Right.
as a nonprofit. Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of things that parents are seeking out are not paid for by insurance. So most of the things listed on our website are not paid for by insurance. So they're difficult. They put a big strain on families.
Absolutely. And I'll say even things that are covered by insurance, it doesn't matter that if you think it's going to be covered and so maybe you don't have the need, let us help you fundraise toward it, because I can guarantee you can use those funds for something else in your life. So we're here to help, obviously, for the items that aren't covered by insurance, but we're here to help for anything related to your traumatic brain injury, anything related to that condition that can just help you live your life a little easier.
Yeah. I there's this awesome bicycle. I can't remember the name. Maybe it's Freedom.
Freedom Concepts. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Have you?
Yeah, we work with them quite closely.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've started a great program this year with actually the Flyers Alumni Association, where we've been able, through the Flyers and with us finding some clients, we've been donating some bikes to some kids, but we absolutely can help individuals fundraise for the adaptive bike. Why not? Why not,
Yeah.
have some fun, ride a bike around your neighborhood, for sure.
Well, I think
In rehab.
it is fun, but it's also the way that some children are going to get those motions in.
Yes, absolutely.
It's needed for
Absolutely.
their
So
brain. Yeah.
yes.
Because some of the feedback, I've had sometimes when mentioning that bike is that people say that looks awesome, but it's really expensive.
It is expensive. It is.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, everything is expensive.
it is.
And, even maybe to the everyday person, even if you see an item that's $100 or $200, that's still expensive.
Mhm.
So, we're here to help fundraise for all of that. But yeah, these major pieces of equipment, they definitely can put a pretty big dent in your everyday budget. So we're
Mhm.
here to help you with that for sure.
Awesome. So I guess if anyone is listening and they have a question about any of the particular treatments, I think just probably a conversation with you guys is
Yes.
where to start.
I always say, yeah, please make the phone call. Don't ever just assume that we won't cover an item or we won't cover your condition. Please just have the phone call, because we can always run something up the flagpole. We can always have a larger conversation if it isn't quite as clear cut for us. There's always things we haven't heard of before. And, there are times with our clients that if we don't, and I think I'd already mentioned, if we don't necessarily think we cover a specific piece of equipment, but we get a doctor's note approving it, we will most likely help cover that. So we're here to work with you as best as possible. Please don't just make any assumptions. Have that phone call and see how we can help you out.
Awesome. Do you end up sticking with your clients until they reach their funding goal, if they
So
want to?
oh yeah, we are not a one and done shop at all. We I've had clients who've been with us for 10, 15 years. We are here for the lifetime of their condition. So just because they have a goal, they can always raise that goal. Some of our clients choose not to put their goal or their thermometer on their campaign page for that specific reason, because sometimes they see if they're afraid that if people see that they're reaching the end of their goal at that point, they might not think they need any more fundraising. So we can just help them keep bumping that goal, because we understand expenses can cost maybe $1 million a year, depending on your condition. And you're going to have lifelong expenses. So we are here to help you continuously fundraise, whatever that looks like, whether it's a couple little fundraisers, an annual fundraiser, online Facebook fundraising. Talk to the coordinator and see what works best for you in your community. But we are here for your lifetime. As long as you're alive, as long as the individual is here, you are able to close the campaign whenever you would like to. If I will say, if any funds are remaining in the campaign, if you choose to close it, or if the individual passes away, we do assist with any outstanding medical expenses or some basic funeral expenses. But then any remaining funds in your honor do stay within that region to then help other individuals in the region. So as a nonprofit, we're always here to help the greater good and to pay it forward. So we are here to focus on you and your medical expenses for as long as you need them. But if you choose to close the campaign, or if you pass away, we're here to then help others as well.
That's awesome. So I have to ask, I'm curious. I know a lot of fundraising platforms alone take a cut, because because we pay for lots of fundraising platforms ourselves as a nonprofit, and there's always a fee involved.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you
we need to keep our lights on,
do you
but this
do
is,
that as well?
we do, but this is a great time for you to be coming to us because we just, even after the last year and a half, we were still able to just lower our fees from 5% to 3%. So we've
Oh,
lowered our administration fee to 3%. And we give our online donors the opportunity to cover that fee within their donation. So we see about 60% of our donors actually covering that fee. So and there's no cost to our families at all for anything that we're doing. So the fee just comes out of the donations. The donor can cover that fee. If you're already donating $100, an extra $3 can go a long way.
yeah.
So that is something we're really proud that we were able to lower those fees. And so I'm happy that we're able to tell you guys that at this point. We just were able to do it last month.
Yeah. So I know a lot of, well, I guess you probably have, I'd love to look at your fundraising platform, but a lot of the ones we use, like, let's say, I don't know, crowdfunding ones, they
Mhm.
take a fee. So do you have to pay that as well on your end?
So it's the 3% administration fee. And then for any online donations, there is the credit card fee. So it's a 2.65% credit card fee.
Mm-hmm.
And that as well, the donor can cover within their fees,
Yeah.
within their donation. Or if anyone would like to donate by check, they can do that and avoid the credit card fees.
Yeah.
Just mail in a check to us. So that's where we kind of cover all of that.
That's
And so we do
perfect.
our best. Yeah. And
It's a
so
good
that's,
low number.
it is. We were all a little stunned and thankful and amazed that even after the last almost 2 years, we were able to do that. So it just shows that we've still, we never closed one day within all of this. We've been helping our clients the entire time to fundraise. And so
Mhm.
we've still been out there being successful in the fundraising world.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. And then how do you keep your lights on? That 3% doesn't do it for you, probably.
No, no. So like I said, we do our own fundraising. The funds that are raised in honor of the clients are there for their medical expenses. We do not touch those
Mhm.
funds.
Mhm.
We do our own fundraising. We have our own development department that writes grants, or we have a few major events throughout the year. We do a 5K called Hope Travels in the spring. We have our annual gala that just happened. It was over video this year, but it still went pretty well. And that's how we do it. We rely really heavily on our donors and our community. So we've been
Yeah,
able to do this for the last 38 years in this fashion.
that's awesome. Are most of your donors in regional to you guys?
I would say, and I can't speak for certain because I'm not quite in that realm,
Right.
but we
Okay.
do, yeah. So we do certainly have a long history of regional Philadelphia. So it's New Jersey, Philadelphia, Delaware, probably donors, but then we do, and we're very thankful. We get some press from around the country. We get random donors from around the country that have just heard our name. We
Mhm.
do get also a handful of individuals that have maybe passed away that somehow have a connection to us and will put us in their obituary in lieu of flowers, donate to help Hope Live. So we're very thankful to all of these people. I know we just had someone recently who heard us on a news podcast or something in Texas and just called our development director and wanted to introduce himself. So you really never know where you're going to hear about us, but we do. I think probably the majority of our sole donors, of our major donors, are within our Philadelphia region.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Okay, can you share some rewarding experiences from your time in this role? Maybe some success stories?
Absolutely. So let me think, in the last 2 years, especially, two programs that we've started that I've been really proud of are our Hope Talks program, which is our webinar series that we've been doing for our clients as different resources and bringing in different vendors or brand ambassadors. I know you had mentioned at one point you heard of us through Billy Footwear, and Billy did a webinar with us on adaptive clothing. Last year, I kind of went above and beyond anything I should have done, and we did 9 of these Hope Talks. And it was phenomenal. We talked to those vendors about adaptive clothing. We had a 3-part series with Danny Isay, who's one of our brand ambassadors with a spinal cord injury, and she gave birth to twins 2 years ago. And so we did a whole parenting series with her. We've done one on caregiving with some of our caregivers to our clients, which was just a really impactful conversation. And we just yesterday had one on cancer and financial toxicity. So these conversations I've been really proud of, and I think it's a really great way for us to get out into the community. And the second one that I've mentioned a little bit just now was our brand ambassadors program. We started up a group of individuals, of clients, family members that have been with us for a long time, that really appreciate our mission and what we've been able to help them do, that now in turn help share our mission all over the country. So we have brand ambassadors in Ohio, Massachusetts, Nevada, all over the place, Utah, California. So they are there to get to places that we can't get to every day. And it's been a great group of just learning why they even came to us, how they came to us, and what groups they can get us into that we might not be able to reach out to on the regular. And those are just two programs I'm proud of. But, I mentioned earlier that we've been donating these bikes with the Flyers Alumni Association. And we just did one last Friday with a little girl in New Jersey. And really just being able to do these types of things, we share internally a lot of happy and positive things with our clients, with each other, especially now that we're not all in the office together. And it's been great reading up on some stories and what we're able to do for our clients. Whenever one of our transplant clients gets transplanted, it's always a big success. We share out on our blog monthly of all the different transplants that have happened and all the different catastrophic injury milestones that have been reached. And it's really special because since we are with these individuals for their lifetimes, we're here with them throughout all of these milestones and inch stones, even, as I know in some of the disability world, they will call them inch stones because those are just as important. And so it's been great to get to know some of our clients and really work with them. One of our brand ambassadors was transplanted in the spring, and now we have her back fully ready to bring our mission out and about. And so it's just really nice to get to know our community very well and share that as much as possible.
Okay. When you keep saying transplanted, can you please tell me what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, so we work with the transplant community. We work with a lot of communities. So the transplant community, organ transplant.
When you say they've been transplanted, you mean that they just had
they received their organ.
Yep. Okay. And so is that really common to need to fundraise for that?
It is, unfortunately. So a lot of medical centers, unfortunately, a lot of medical centers that deal with organ transplants right now will require their patients to have a certain amount of funds available to them before they even are eligible to be on the list. Wow. So that they can kind of have the confidence to know that they'll be able to care for that organ after the fact. With their medicine is so extremely expensive. They usually need to stay in guest housing by the hospital for at least a month after their transplant. And they have lifelong medications at that point. So yeah, unfortunately, there is a great need for fundraising in the transplant community.
Wow. As if finding your transplant isn't enough.
It's not quite as easy as you might think, and as they make it out on TV, for sure.
Oh yeah, TV.
Yeah.
The shows.
It's a whole different conversation, I'm sure. Yeah.
For our listeners wondering who is well suited to work with Help Hope Live, all ages. I know you talked about this a little bit, but I didn't catch if there was an age. I'm thinking it's everyone.
We're all ages, all 50 states. Truly anyone living with a catastrophic medical condition that is experiencing a financial hardship. So like I've mentioned, we were founded on the transplant community. We opened up to catastrophic injury, spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury, and then opened up even more to the catastrophic illness community, which truly just encompasses such a wide umbrella of diagnoses, especially in the last couple of years, cancer, COVID, Parkinson's, MS, so much. And so we're here to help, almost anyone at this point. If they're experiencing a financial hardship, they have medical expenses, we can help them fundraise toward those for sure. We are only sanctioned to fundraise within the 50 states. So your community needs to be in the US. You need to have a a doctor within the US that's going to be verifying your condition and your need. You do not need to be a US citizen. We just need you to be living here with a community here. So,
Mhm. Okay. I want to talk about all the happy things, but I also
yes.
want to know who you turned down uh, to work
So
with.
I will say probably we turn down less people than we used to. Now that we've opened up so much to many different conditions.
Yeah, that's great.
Some conversations that our coordinators will have with individuals is, they still do need to have a community around them. They need to have the motivation to do the fundraising. We are not an organization that can just give out funds, or, you can't come to us and just have one or two donors that are going to constantly be populating your campaign. They could be helping you personally outside of that. So we do unfortunately have to turn down some people if they just don't think that they have any community around them. And we work with them. We try to suss out who their community might be, because they might not even realize your church, your PTA, sports groups, this, that, friends, family, like community is really a very broad term. So we try to work as best we can with the individual before we kind of have to have that hard conversation that this might not work for them. We are here to give as much personal support and our expertise as possible, but we still expect our clients to help get themselves over that finish line. So there are some individuals, if they just, unfortunately, and we, like I said, we try as best as possible, but some individuals it might not work for. So it's not as much on the medical condition side anymore as it is on just having the community that's necessary to do the successful fundraising.
Yeah, so you could say like, well, what do you mean by community? And you just named a whole bunch, and you guys would probably help brainstorm different
Yes,
places.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's what the coordinators are here to help you with. They really, in that first conversation, especially, they'll try to figure out, what are your interests? What do you do every day? Do you have family? Do you have family across the country that maybe would fundraise for you? It doesn't need to be in your exact location, especially anymore with the virtual world. You can have people fundraising for you all over the country. So community, think large, think, outside of your immediate neighborhood. And, we try to figure out who that might be before we ever have that hard conversation. But it really is a much larger term than anyone might think about.
Right. And I think you've probably exhausted this, but is anyone ineligible? Sounds like you've opened it up pretty wide.
We have opened it up pretty wide. We're really trying to help as many people as possible. I don't know that anyone is truly ineligible. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of, I guess it's always hard to say one community that maybe people could think, but doesn't. The elderly. I know they have a lot of need at time and maybe have medical conditions, but if they don't have the catastrophic medical condition on top of simply aging, that's something that wouldn't, because sometimes a lot of older people still do need mobility devices and all of that. But if it's not related to a catastrophic condition, that is one community.
That makes sense.
But yeah,
one condition you didn't name is autism.
We have opened up to autism. Absolutely.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it's expensive.
I said, our doors are pretty open, and we do recognize those expenses. Even within the traumatic brain injury community, the expenses like vision therapy. I was at a brain injury conference a few years ago and had an old client come up to me that I had never met before, was way before my time, but she came up to me, and I don't know if she had to write it out or if she just told me in person, but she wouldn't have been able to be looking me in the eye without our helping her fundraise for her vision therapy. And it was just so impactful, and something like that people don't think about every day, an expense that, this community in particular really benefits from.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you. That's the story I wanted to hear.
There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's hard when you ask, and I'm like, I love them all, but that is a great one for sure. We had one, I will say, a couple weeks ago when we were in Phoenix for the Abilities Expo. And I don't know that this person ever started with us, but it was just such a great experience. We had two women that had just met randomly that day at the Abilities Expo. They were talking. One was in a wheelchair, one was a PT or retired. And they kept talking to us, they kept talking to each other and seeing the different vendors and all of this. And as the woman in the wheelchair came up to us and was really excited about us, we told her about our process and that $25 donation. The woman next to her simply took $25 out of her pocket and said, "Start your campaign." And it was
Oh,
completely out of the blue. And they were strangers 20 minutes before that. And it was so amazing. So I don't know if she ever truly started the campaign, but it was such an amazing moment to show what this community and how they support each other.
yeah, that's amazing. Well, how can our audience find out more about you and your work?
I would say the best place to go if you're comfortable or if you have someone that can help you is our website, www.helphopelive.org. There is a really great FAQ section. You can read all through our blog and read so much about our clients and their stories. We are on all of the socials. So we're listed as Help Hope Live org on Twitter, Instagram, and then we're Help Hope Live on LinkedIn and Facebook. And so we update constantly. And we have a YouTube channel with a bunch of videos. So that's a great place to start if you want to just do some research first. And then please just have the phone call. Give us a call at 800-642-8399 and speak to a coordinator and really just have that conversation and see if we're right for you. I would venture we might be. So let us start helping you. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to say to the Brain Possible community today to be complete?
I think the only other important thing to know is that the individual themselves doesn't need to be the one spearheading the campaign. We understand that they might not always have the capability or, have the know-how every single day to be able to run their campaign. It depends on the condition, it depends on the individual. So a spouse or a parent or a power of attorney can open a campaign on someone's behalf. Or if you open your campaign, within that opening paperwork, there is a form where you can fill out your team members. And we really encourage you to have a team around you if you can, of family members or friends or people that you give permission to submit fund requests on your behalf, to talk about the funds raised on your behalf. You can appoint a person that can be our major point person that we talk to all the time. You don't have to be in this by yourself. We're here to give you the support, but we want to be sure that you realize we can use your community in that way as well, whomever you might trust. And it's also just another way that we show our transparency and our trust is that with those fund requests that come in, we make sure that anyone who is authorized are the only people that are requesting those funds. So we won't ever disperse funds to a vendor or to an individual if they weren't requested by an authorized individual. So we're really here to help protect the individual and help them as much as possible.
That's awesome. Thank you. What a cool program. It's
So
very
I wish I
needed.
could say I came up with it. I'm just happy I found it.
Yeah, it sounds rewarding. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today and share this with us. I hope that some of our listeners found value in this and call you up.
Thank you so much. I really hope so as well. And just don't hesitate. It's, I know it can be hard to ask for help. I know it can be hard to have that first phone call. We also have brand ambassadors, like I've talked about, we have brand ambassadors that if you want to hear from someone who's had firsthand experience fundraising with us, we
Yeah,
can put you in touch with a brand ambassador as well. So that take us out of the equation for a minute. Speak to
right.
someone who maybe can talk on a different level so that you aren't really, you might, just helps with that process a little bit. So whatever we can do, we are here to help you. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I hope that you enjoyed our conversation today and that you learned something new about fundraising and how you can support your family financially. Do you have a question for Sonny and Help Hope Live? Do you have your own fundraising story to share? We would love to hear from you. Let us know how we can be useful in your journey. Email us at info@thebrainpossible.com. Also, be sure to subscribe, follow, and share our podcast if that feels true for you. If you enjoyed this podcast and enjoy the content that we put out, please share it. Please like it. It means the world to us. We are also a nonprofit, and every share and like And every time one of you writes into us, it means a lot and keeps us going. As always, thank you for spending your precious time with us at The Brain Possible. See you next week and be well.